Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's doing wonderful today. Welcome to Allie's Advocacy for TBI Survivors. And since last week was kind of weird to label last week as a fifth week for April or first week for May, so I just went ahead and did first week of May. And since this week's the first full week of May, I'm just going to read several emails from State Representatives John Talley and Trish Ransom and just go over and discuss them and everything and briefly discuss the legislation that I'm drafting just for the fun of it. Yes, I like drafting legislation for the fun of it. You can call me weird, but I like doing that for the fun of it. And I like reading it just for the fun of it. Okay, the first one I have from State Representative John Talley was sent 7 days ago. The last days of the legislative session are looming, and we have until May 31st to give final approval to bills in the next state session budget. Tongue-tied. House bills that were amended in the Senate must return before they can be sent to the governor. The House can either accept the Senate amendments and vote on the final version, or the author can send the bill through conference committee to try to reach amendment from both chambers on language. I have a couple more bills that I'm hoping to finalize in the next week or two. That was always fun to do, or fun to see happen when I was still in the Oklahoma Intercollegiate Legislature. The governor signed another one of my bills this week. House Bill 1382 exempts local post adjudication review boards from the Open Meetings Act. The change was prompted because the board deals with confidential records of cases for deprived children. So the board spends the entire meeting in executive session, removing the boards from the requirement, wasting valuable tax dollars on unnecessary red tape or budget priorities. Money talk. And I anticipate being able to start hearing those bills on the House floor in the coming days. Budget negotiation next week. And I am hopeful that they will be able to reach an agreement so we can finalize the budget in a timely manner. Yeah, we see it playing out in the news. I'm not commenting to this lawmaker, I'm commenting to the governor and the higher up or the House and Senate leadership. Anyways, last week I attended the Lincoln Reagan dinner hosted by the Logan County Republican Party. If you weren't at the dinner, you missed a fantastic evening of great food and good company. We heard from several speakers, including Governor Kevin Stitt and Senator Nathan Dahm, on a range of issues from economic development to border security. That would have been nice to hear about those. We also honored local citizens who have stepped up to serve their communities. Overall, there was it's like Guthrie and Logan County, or is Guthrie just big part of Logan County? I gotta make wisecracks somewhere in there. I want to thank County Chair Jennifer Bennett Johnson and Vice Chair Jaden Chappell for hosting such a wonderful evening. Congratulations to the Logan County Republican Party for their successes this year, and thank you for continuing to uphold conservative values. I also want to take a moment to congratulate Dr. Ruth Jackson on being the next president of Langston University. Dr. Jackson has a wonderful talent for making people feel welcome. From the first time I first met her, I thought she would make an excellent president of Langston. It's evident that she truly cares about seeing students succeed, and she is passionate about Langston University as well. She has a, uh, sorry, she has such a teacher's heart, but she is also a visionary who can inspire people to be excited about the future and pursue great things. Congratulations to Dr. Jackson on becoming Langston's 17th president, and thank you for being willing to step into this position. Always please feel free to reach out to me with any questions or concern. Thank you for the honor of representing House District 33 at the state capitol, Representative John Talley. There's Representative Ransom. April update. Hi, friend. Another month has passed since my last update, and another legislative deadline has been met. Last Thursday was the deadline for all bills to pass through the opposite chamber. Several bills made it through the process without amendments and have found their way to the governor's desk for signature or veto. In the coming weeks, authors of bills that were amendment will either accept or reject those amendments to proceed. We're on the verge of our final month, a session where budget talks pick up in earnest. We are constitutionally required to finish our business and pass a balanced budget by the last Friday of May. That just happens to be May 31st this year. April was a busy month with candidate filing starting this off. I successfully filed for re-election to put my name on the November ballot. Andrew Muchmore, Republican, has also filed for HD 34, or House District 34. Since I have an opponent, campaign season has officially launched. And as I said again, I will be campaigning for her, but even though she has an opponent, I will be, bipartisan and, being fair and asking questions to him and not doing any of the usual whatever nonsense goes on. And Trisha's the same, she's really good and everything. Since I have an opponent, campaign season officially launched, I'll be knocking doors, meeting voters, listening to concerns, and engaging in community events. I greatly appreciate your support up to this point, and I've missed, at least I know, 2 walk around opportunities. They weren't in my area, though. But I know these past 6 years, through being thoughtful, responsible, and responsive to the real issues our communities face. Yes, she has. And that's from the disability aspect. And drafting legislation for the disability community. Sincerely, Trish. If you can sign up to volunteer or donate today, I would be grateful for your support in building the momentum as we gear up for the election in 6 months. Let's see, I think there's another one. OSU Day, bill updates. See, this was on April 26th from Representative Talley. I'm excited to share that Governor Stitt signed 2 of my bills, House Bill 3752 and Senate Bill 1638 this week. House Bill 3752 enables the Domestic Violence Facility Review Board in Oklahoma to access vital records from the Department of Corrections, facilitating a more comprehensive understanding of factors contributing to domestic violence fatalities. It also Allie Seafried from Claremore for her work to support this measure in the Senate. I also worked with Senator Seafried, hope I'm saying that right, on the second bill signed by the governor, Senate Bill 1638. The measure brings Oklahoma into compliance with federal law and requires that reports submitted to law enforcement about a child missing from foster placement must include a photo of the missing child, a detailed description of their physical features, and information about potential endangerment. Senate Bill 1638 also requires the Oklahoma Department of Human Services, or DHS, to maintain regular communication with law enforcement and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to provide for the safe recovery of a missing or abducted child. This bill passed with an emergency clause, meaning it went into effect as soon as the governor signed it. Also, this week, the Senate passed one of my bills that the House approved last year. You may remember House Bill 1028 from last spring. This was my bill that prohibits corporal punishment being used on public school students with disabilities. The Senate made some changes to House Bill 1028, meaning the bill will return to the House for another vote before it can head to the governor. Yeah, that was the bill I just read. Corporal punishment is defined in state statute as the use of hitting, slapping, paddling, or any other means of inflicting physical pain. In the school setting, this would be administered by the teacher or other school administrator. The version of the bill would apply to students with autism, deaf blindness, emotional disturbance, intellectual disability, learning disabilities, a traumatic brain injury, or any speech, language, hearing, visual, or orthopedic impairment. Yay, TBI is included. Currently, there are no guidelines in law on how, when, how often, or how much corporal punishment can be used by school personnel on students. I want to be clear that I fully support parents having the right to discipline their child as they see fit. And House Bill 1028 does not hinder parental rights in any way. We have until the last Friday in May to hear House Bill 1028 and other House bills changed in the Senate. Also this week, the state capitol hosted OSU Day, or Oklahoma State University Day. That's what OSU stands for. Because this is Oklahoma. This annual event is always one of my favorite days of the year. It's fun to see so many alumni and staffers wearing America's brightest orange. This year was both happy and sad as the House recognized our exceptional wrestling coach, John Smith, on his recent retirement. Most people don't understand how much he has contributed to the sport of wrestling and to the state of Oklahoma. For years, he has personally supported the wrestling programs at many schools across the state. And I can personally say Coach Smith is a very nice guy. He's been a great ambassador for the United States as his work has taken him across the world, and he's represented Oklahoma well. We can't thank him enough for his contributions to the OSU community and to our state as a whole. As always, please feel free to reach out to me, as I said in the other email. See if I've got any other emails from. There's another one that was sent on April 19th. We were busy at the Capitol this week, and the House had some tough things to work on. This is from Representative John Talley. I've heard from a lot of constituents on a couple of bills, so I want to take this opportunity to clear up some confusion. On Tuesday, the House heard Senate Joint Resolution 34, which would have abolished the Judicial Nominating Commission, or JNC, the current system used to name judicial appointees. The creation of the JNC was spearheaded by Republicans in 1967, following numerous high-profile cases of corruption within Oklahoma courts. The JNC comprises 15 members, 9 of whom are non lawyers. When there is a vacancy on one of the state's highest courts, they select 3 qualified candidates to pass to the governor, who, who then chooses his nominee. This bill ultimately failed 36 to 60. Ouch. Of the 81 Republicans in the House, 51 of us decided to vote against SJR 34. Of If there are ways to make our current system better and more transparent, we should certainly look into that. But I felt that abolishing a commission put into put into place to end corruption was the right move. I also don't like the idea of giving more power to the governor of the future that I may not agree with. Our founding fathers were wise to put into place a system of separation of powers. I think we should keep it that way. Amen. The system, or the House, not the system, it's the House, did approve Senate Bill 518, which makes some changes to the initiative petition process. This isn't a complete overhaul. Instead, it adds some safeguards to ensure the continued integrity of Oklahoma's elections. The measure would require those submitting an initiative petition to pay a $750 filing fee, similar to people filing to run for political office. It also extends the protest period, requires signers' legal first and last name, and strengthens the process for verifying the petition signers are registered voters in Oklahoma. Our last bill of the week was House Bill 4156, which would give law enforcement the authority to arrest and incarcerate illegal immigrants found in the state. We have a lot of immigrants who are authorized to work in this country in various industries that are important to House District 33. But if a person is undocumented, they don't need to be in our country. This would help clean up rogue actors in Oklahoma's marijuana industry, as well as better allow our state to fight the fentanyl crisis. The U.S. has a severe problem at our southern border. Congress and the White House have failed to take significant action, leaving the responsibility up to the state. House Bill 4156 may not be perfect, but it sends a clear message that if you're an illegal immigrant from any country, don't put up a shop in Oklahoma. When we weren't on the floor voting, I had a chance to meet with the leadership Cushing group that was here Thursday. We also had Leadership Guthrie at the Capitol last week. I always enjoy visiting with impressive leaders of House District 33. And that was it for that one. Yeah. Okay, that's all I got to read. My throat is about to get dry from reading. Okay, and before I get into talking about the legislation I was drafting for fun, okay, well, I'll go into it quick. I've not gotten into more drafting it because I've not heard back from the National Disability Emergency Management. And since that, I'm going to need to get contacting individual states. So I'm going to do that earlier today or next week. So I will do that. Then once I hear from them, I'll get into drafting more for that bill and stuff and everything. So I'll have something for the third week this month and everything. Ugh. And then I am going to say this. I've already seen campaign commercials, and I have no clue what's going on and everything. But I've talked about how much of a supporter I am for Tom Cole and how awesome I think he is and everything. Lived in Texas or whatever. How can we get people from Texas that? Okay, I want to know whose butt he was kissing, or either whose butt he was kissing or who he was off. That is just not right to be able to run for Congress for Oklahoma, and you don't really even live in Oklahoma until a few weeks ago or a few days ago. I do not want that person to win the election. Cole needs to win. And if they've got a problem, yes, we need protection at the southern border, but they have such a conviction. They're like, oh, we don't need to fund Ukraine and everything. But they're not thinking strategically or whatever about the whole Russia. And if Russia gets into Ukraine and everything, they're not thinking about the larger scheme of things in the pictures. Yes, we need protection at the border and everything. Israel needs our help, but so does Ukraine. We don't need to send as much money. We can help them in other ways, maybe not necessarily as money or whatever else. Get back on doing Facebook Live on Wednesday and it will be at 3:00 will be the new time. And then I will here on YouTube for the podcast at Friday at 2:00. So I shall